How's it going, guys? What of course you'll be seeing today is some Battlefield 4 Final Stand DLC footage. This one here is the map called Operation Whiteout, which I'll be discussing shortly. As you see me walk across a submarine right here, where it seems as if it's emerged through the ice. Look how thick that ice is. And what you'll see, of course, this is Rush mode, and I'm playing in Classic mode, which I have no experience with because I didn't play Battlefield 2. And it was quite the adjustment, which I'm going to talk about I'm going to quickly break down what Classic mode is. I'm sure most of you do. Bear with me, because I'm going to give you, of course, my thoughts and my processes of what it is and my adjustments to it, as you see triumphs and mistakes throughout the gameplay in the back. But what it is, basically, well, I'll start with Classic mode, then I'll talk about the overall DLC and this particular map, what I like and I don't like about it, and the small sample size of trials. But looking at Classic mode, first thing you're going to see, of course, is there's no 3D spotting, which helps hybrid snipers like me. I don't like going up close with bolt-action rifles, considering that, well, I can do it. I've done it several times, but I don't like it just because, of course, shitty internet. Never a good idea if you're going to lag and walk right out into a close quarters situation. But on top of it, I don't know, I prefer assault rifles. It's just more logical to me in shorter range. And I don't like the longer range encounters either, because then I just join a sniper server in 1,000 plus. That's my bonus. So the middle range of that 300 to 500 meters, it's like a middleman role. To me, it's not fulfilling. It's not enjoyable. If it is to you, go nuts. I'm not going to be the one to discourage anyone from playing their style of game, even if it isn't quote-unquote playing the objective. Just because I just don't like the logic to it. I understand you pay the game and you're going to play it the way you want, and that's fine. But do bear in mind that the guys that do play the objective like me, if I'm not joining a sniper server, will probably have to carry you two. I might have to carry the weight of two people in like a 64 server. So it's basically like playing 31 on 32. But then, of course, you can make the argument that the guy playing engineer that's up close and personal, that's always getting basically murdered when you're an attacker, not going to help you out an awful lot either. There's a whole wide variety of different play styles and the complexities and issues with them. So blaming snipers alone, of course, like I've addressed multiple times, is just sort of a scapegoat and a logical statement. But I'll digress. I won't get into that. But you know what I mean. Pinning it just on snipers or a guy sitting back, sort of a scapegoat argument to me. It doesn't tell the full story. But anyway, I digress. I prefer hybrid sniping, like I was saying. And 3D spotting really helps if you're a sniper for this, because now you can't spam the spot button to try and find that pesky sniper, and there's no kill cam either, so it's not like you can get a general sense of the geography to find out where I was, because the kill cam's only going to show this guy. So it helps hybrid snipers an awful lot, does Classic mode. In addition to that, well, it will appear on the minimap, I should say, but it won't be over his head. In addition to that, there's no health regeneration, and that's in terms of infantry and vehicles. So make sure you have an engineer or you have your repair tool before you hop in a vehicle. And on top of that, make sure that you're either an assault player or you're near an assault player when you want to regen some health. Because if you look at the gameplay in multiple instances here, my health doesn't regenerate, and that's because it's Classic mode. But the biggest issue I found was I was making the bad habit of going back behind cover after I was taking damage and saying, what the hell, why isn't my health going up? So it finally took the game like basically crashing for me to exit and try and rejoin the server, that I found that, oh, I was playing in Classic mode this whole time. That explains why my health wasn't going up. But that's how it works. And I think having that really makes you more, you have to be more cerebral with your movements, with your timing, because you get punished for little mistakes that you normally would overlook or be forgiven for when you could just pop an ammo bag and regenerate your health. So you have to be more methodical. But you have to find that balance too, because I found in a lot of Classic mode games, in order to prevent myself from getting killed, or as I snipe some parachuters with the MG4, I found on average I had to strike the balance of the right mode of aggression to get the job done, versus not going out there and getting myself killed. So it's striking that right balance between not being too passive, but also not, rushing out there and getting yourself killed blindly. And I'm still working on that for Classic mode. It makes you definitely take more cover, of course, at all times, but your decision making comes into question as well. And this was pretty good here despite me taking health. I was in a pretty good vantage point to hold off some before I was finally caught. So that's what I go for in classic mode on average. It's take out some guys and then hopefully I can relocate before I get taken out. Or if at least I know I'm going to die, take as many as I possibly can in that area first. That's the appropriate mix I've been going for. The other big issue too is squad leader spawn. He's the only guy you can spawn on. If he's dead or there's not a beacon to spawn on, you're going back to your deployment. Which again, that creates another nice dichotomy of possible issues or like things to consider. Because if your squad leader isn't competent, you'll probably be in some trouble. But if he is, you're in really good shape. Plus I find for me in classic mode, it's completely eliminated the horrific habit I usually have of basically spawning on the quickest guy that'll get me in the action as quick as possible, only to realize that despite there not being a warning sign in the minimap, that spawning on him insta-death. It's a terribly bad habit. It's definitely crushed my KD over the course of Battlefield 4. Though I don't really care about stats all that much, but it just as a point of emphasis that it definitely does impact me. So that makes your decisions a lot smoother. It also it makes moving with your squad and protecting your squad leader that much more important. And the last one, of course, is reloading. It didn't come up as a big issue because, of course, I'm running support with the MG4. But on average, if in classic mode, if you reload with rounds left in the magazine, they're gone. So again, with support, it doesn't matter much, but it definitely puts you in that decision-making process of, I only have 7 rounds left in the mag, or like I only have a certain amount of rounds left. Do I reload, figuring that, like say, the sticking point for me is usually like 10 to 15, because then I say, if I get swarmed by a couple of people, I might need every single one of those rounds to hit to kill someone. But at the same time, if I reload to 30, I won't have this issue, but then I'm going to sacrifice some rounds. So what do I do here? Of course, if you're sitting around support players, or you are a support player, it's not a big concern, but it is otherwise. So that's a nice mix into your already cluttered thought process. With regard to the maps, finally, because I know that's probably what you've been waiting for. These particular maps, well, this one I'll talk about in general. The small sample size of Rush and classic mode that I've been playing in, I've had fun. I've enjoyed the maps. Hangar 21 is the biggest issue I found for attackers because it's a straight uphill for attackers. So any half-competent team that actually uses designations or uses sniper rifles and MG4 placements to unleash constant suppression, most of the maps I've played, they don't get past the first MCOM or two as long as you're playing with a smart team. Or if the attackers are super strong, then they'll push up too. So again, depends on team flow and depends on how it goes. But generally on average, if you're the type of player, or maps on average with, say, the standard average player, if they join up on a team, they're going to have a very difficult time pushing uphill. And that's just because the higher player, the advantage of a higher player, it's why, well, it's as, fuck, I'm struggling for words. It is as true as time that having the high ground gives you an advantage because you can see them before they see you and you can unload on them even behind cover. So, and in this case here, say Hangar 21 has that issue of fighting uphill and rush. Defenders definitely, I feel, have the advantage in that map. This one here has a moment here where attackers in Operation Whiteout, you have to fight uphill as well. So there is that issue too. Popping smoke or like attacking as a team really helps you out. Putting down beacons really helps you out. So that's something to consider. But this part here is my favorite part of the whole map, this submarine section. Because you have small bits of cover for the defenders to work with. You can have great fun going around from cover to cover, just monitoring and taking care not to get yourself into trouble. But also it gives the attackers a good shot at coming back too. Because look at how little cover the defenders really do have. They have enough, but they don't have a ton. And because the MCOM is right behind that that glacier, the iceberg, whatever it is, you know, they have two different angles to attack it from. So if you flood one side, A lot of the time, defenders don't have chance. But I've enjoyed this map thoroughly as the number 1, and I'll address more as we go. Have a good one.